If you have any dignity, apologize to the
podcast.
Okay, so hi everybody. This is Tyler from Jalaman22, the YouTube page, and this is our first episode of the podcast. Apologize to the podcast because we needed a title. And with me is
I'm AJ at Don't Ignore Me. That's my YouTube.
and also with me.
I'm Shane. I'm also known as Naschycast on YouTube.
Okay, cool. So yeah, and of course this podcast is just covering anything that we want to geek out about, whether it be movies, television shows, video games, music, any anime, which is
I'm an
kind of,
anime guy, so that's all I want to talk about. I guess.
so we'll talk about a little bit of everything that we want to geek out about. Okay, so today our first episode is going to be on the new TV show straight from Japan, 20 years in the making, so to speak. Dragon Ball Super, which is the new show in the Dragon Ball Z or Dragon Ball Super franchise. So to get this ball rolling, we'll go ahead and say okay.
The Dragon Ball.
To get the okay. So I'll go ahead and ask you, since your name starts alphabetically, AJ, we'll go ahead and go with you and
I
say.
curse my parents for naming me Shane, not AJ.
Curses.
Hey, some of us are just born lucky.
So to start us off, I'll say, so AJ, so what got you started with your fandom for Dragon Ball Z?
So yeah, my experience of the franchise.
Let me guess, Tsunami.
I mean, as far as I remember, sure.
Yeah.
But hey, I mean, who didn't watch it on Toonami? But yeah, I remember watching a lot of the early Dragon Ball, a lot of Dragon Ball Z. It's at some point I eventually watched all of Dragon Ball Z and sat through all GT. Played some of the video games, called like Dragon Ball, Budokai 2, Tenkaichi 3, things like that. And so I feel like probably not like a super fan, but definitely a big fan. It's probably in my like top 3 animes that I enjoy.
So a very important show in your youth.
It is very important. Although I should say, though, it has been a long time since I've watched anything, like sat down and watched a lot of Dragon Ball. But but I feel, I mean, last time I saw was the when Battle of Gods came out. That was really the last thing I saw.
When it came out to the States.
Yeah, so it's been a good couple years, but I'm always keeping up with like Dragon Ball Z Abridged. That's kind of it reminds me of the story and what happens, even though
Go fuck yourself.
Go fuck yourself. Well, Shane,
Anyway.
since I'll go ahead and be a gentleman and let you talk next, what about you? What got you into the Dragon Ball Z fandom?
Well, when I first started, it was on Toonami, of course. I actually started very late in the franchise. My very first episode was like where Raditz came in, basically. So I pretty much missed all of Dragon Ball and just watched from Raditz forward. I was like 10 years old. I didn't care. I was all hopped up on sugar and shit. I didn't care, but it had explosions. And
That's what we tend to do with anime.
Oh yeah.
I'm impressed you remember what your first episodes were. I can't
Yeah,
even
that
remember
blew
what
my
mine
mind
were.
that much. And this, when I was a little 10-year-old kid, it was like, whoa, man, this is awesome.
Well, since you're such a big anime guy, would you say that this is one of the shows that planted that seed in your brain?
Definitely.
Started the fandom rolling?
Definitely. That's what got me started, really.
Really? Okay.
I think most people would say that. It's not really it's not really too original, but
Yeah, I'd say that this franchise, Pokemon, Sailor Moon, those are like the big 3.
of that era.
Of
I
that
need to
era.
watch Sailor Moon.
Those are the big ones. It's well, the dub's really dated, but we'll see how that goes.
Okay.
Well, I guess that leaves me. Same deal. Saw, God, if I can think of what episode it was, started probably about Frieza Saga, which, if any of these names doesn't really ring a bell to anyone who might be listening to this, he's the very odd metrosexual alien thing.
You're not gonna know who Frieza is, really.
Well, I mean, there any newbies to this, but yeah, I'd say probably I remember him and being really confused. Where one episode he was pink and purple with horns, and then the next episode he's all white with his horns missing. I thought
He got horny.
He got oh God! Word of warning: this episode might be explicit, so keep your children away.
Probably should have said something about that earlier.
Well, that's a good thing I can do it now. But yeah, I remember watching the show on Toonami, buying the tapes, which were 3 episodes on a tape for like
you
$15.
did that too. I did that as a kid as well.
Yeah. See, but I had the hindsight to like record episodes off TV, which I realized that there was such a thing as uncut episodes in Japanese. So at a young age, I got hooked to the Japanese original with dawn of DVD. So that's what started my fandom. Was probably just watching on Toonami. When I really got into it, that's when Toonami changed their on Cartoon Network, when they changed their lineup, where it was pretty much 2 episodes of Dragon Ball and then 2 episodes of Dragon Ball Z. It was like 2 to 3 hours nonstop of the misadventures of Goku and all the Z warriors. So, but you were saying, AJ?
Oh, I was just saying that. No, I forget.
You forgot.
So we'll move on to the next little part. So, well, of course, this is big news. I think probably the last 2 or 3 years for Dragon Ball Z fans has been a huge time in the fandom, because we've got 2 movies coming, that have came out. One that we're probably going to see in theaters when they do their special event for the English dub of Resurrection of F.
Yeah.
So when that comes out next month, we're recording in July for anyone who's keeping track. So we've had 2 movies, and now we're having this TV show, which we're actually getting ready to watch the first episode. So are we actually excited, or we've been...
No, we're extremely bored.
We're extremely bored? I'm cautiously optimistic, because I've seen some of the worst stuff. Because since Dragon Ball Z and Dragon Ball GT ended in 2006, and since then we've kind of had like so new content. There's been OVAs and specials and these 2 movies, and I really love Battle of Gods, but the actual specials, like the episode of Bardock and what was the other one, the Jump Super Anime Tour, do you remember the name of it, AJ?
I remember when they it was the where Vegeta's brother comes, Tarble.
Oh, that one.
That was one of the OVAs.
Yeah, that I didn't like the Tarble
What
one.
was his brother married to? Like, what was that? It looked like a Pokemon.
Oh yeah,
the
I remember that.
So I mean, for the fandom, I've been
Like,
kind
did
of...
they actually like have sex and stuff?
Well, fan theory, we'll talk about that. But no,
No, there's no such thing as sex in the Dragon Ball universe.
Oh.
Don't even ask.
Okay.
they spawned them asexually.
Can you edit that part out? I'm kind of regretting it saying that.
I'm leaving it in.
Anyway, no, but I say, so I mean, for me, to start the ball rolling on that is, I'm cautiously optimistic about the series, because out of all the new stuff that's come out since GT ended, the two specials have been so-so. I've been very lukewarm to them, but I really love Battle of Gods, and I think as a movie, not just as a Dragon Ball Z related item, as a movie, it is a surprisingly well-made movie, above average, great production values, good story, good humor, a lot of stuff that the movies are lacking. So I'm looking forward to the series. Hopefully it will be, an actual up to quality of Z show instead of GT, which GT was, not the best thing that happened. So I mean, so you, AJ, you were saying?
Yeah. So I am glad that this is happening. Although I will say, this isn't exactly what I was kind of hoping for, because I was originally thinking when they had Battle of Gods and then they had the Resurrection of F with the Frieza movie, I was thinking that it might actually be better for the franchise as a whole if they were to just like make a series of movies, kind of like what they did with Star Trek, where they had the original series, but then 10, 20 years later they had a series of movies where they brought the cast back together and did some really high quality stuff, like everyone knows Wrath of Khan and such like that. But I was kind of thinking that might be where the franchise should go, so we could have like kind of every couple or once a year or once every 2 years kind of have like a burst of both nostalgia but new content with the movie. But with this, there might be a risk that it could go off the rails, or because it's not all the production values, not everyone's effort in a movie as opposed to a TV show. But I am very hopeful. I do think I think it'll hopefully go in some good directions, primarily because since Toriyama's at the helm, that's what I'm most excited about, because just the way his mind works and the story ideas he comes up with, I think we're going to be in for a ride no matter what. And I think even if even if it's like Toriyama at his weakest, which could be a possibility since it's been so long, you know, I think it'll still. I mean, I'll watch it. I'll enjoy it either way.
Okay. And are you excited about the show, Shane?
Yes, very excited.
You're very excited. Okay, so we've all put our 2 cents in about if we're excited about the series. So before we actually start the episode, do we have any predictions of what the show is going to be like?
I'm thinking it's gonna be like a time of peace before the the calm before the storm comes.
Okay.
Personally,
so that'd be a good way to start off the series. How about you, AJ?
Either that, or it's gonna have like a bunch of fucking explosions, people yelling at each other.
Michael
for,
Bay
for like 10 episodes straight and stuff like that, you know.
Okay.
So, sorry to cut you off.
No, it's okay. Yeah, I kind of thinking the same thing. I mean, obviously it's the first episode, so unless Goten gets kidnapped by Goku's other secret brother,
That'd be awesome.
yeah, but no, I'm just kidding. But
we don't want to keep doing the family that keeps growing subplots.
Yeah.
We don't need that.
oh no. But I mean, I'm thinking the first several episodes are probably going to be similar to like the Great Saiyaman saga, probably at first, just kind of like down to earth kind of villains where there's just like. I mean, I don't know, they're fighting robbers or they're fighting something, you know, just something really random, like, and they'll probably show clips of, like, people being surprised that they're flying or they're whatever.
Yeah.
So, things like that for a while, and then, you know, there'll probably be, there's a dark secret, or there's a dark bad guy coming in, or Frieza, or I don't know, something like that. So, we'll...
Frieza is coming back. Okay, well,
For the third time, I guess. Wait, he's dying in the movie, or?
Oh,
we haven't seen the movie.
Yeah, we haven't. Yeah, I mean, have you seen the movie?
No.
I haven't seen the movie.
We haven't seen Resurrection
We don't know if it
X.
comes back a third time or not.
Well, we'll see how this ends up going. Okay, well, so this is gonna be fun. So this is us before we've seen the episode, and then we're gonna come back. We're gonna take a little break, actually watch the episode, and then we're gonna give our first initial reactions to the series after we watch this. So I got my fingers crossed. Hopefully this will be the start of something good or lukewarm and not something horrible. Because like you were saying, AJ, this is actually, connected to Toriyama, Akira Toriyama, who, made the series. That's one thing that was missing from GT, was there was not a lot of input from him, and the show kind of just went off the rails fast. So hopefully this will start out promising and maybe rough around the edges, but not terrible. So here's hoping. We got our fingers crossed. We're gonna do our, I don't know, we'll do something.
We'll do our fusion dance.
We'll do our fusion dance.
With 3 people?
With 3.
How?
New plot point. So yeah, so we'll be right back, and I'm gonna go ahead and start the episode up. Okay, so we just got back from watching the first episode of Dragon Ball Super.
Welcome back.
Welcome back.
Hello.
So
Except nothing actually happened in your space. Just
nothing. Well, something happened with us. So let's go ahead and bust into the episode. Who wants to go first with first impressions?
Yeah, sure.
second.
Well, I mean, that was just about what I was expecting. I didn't think there was going to be anything too spectacular. By the way, spoilers. Probably should have mentioned.
Oh
that.
yeah, we're gonna
spoil everything.
We're not everything, but we'll spoil some things because I did take a little bulletin board notes and stuff.
Yes.
So,
but yeah, it was just about what I expected. Nothing too mind blowing. Kind of hints of what will go on in the future. Beerus as a villain, maybe the first villain of the series.
He's the god of destruction, the cat-like guy.
Yeah. And just really, it's just them just kind of living their lives. Kind of what was the post Boo saga? But it's not a fan fiction. It's the real.
It's
thing.
the real thing. Well, Shane, any initial thoughts?
Well, if you guys remember, I said I was disappointed in it. I like to rephrase that. It's not what I expected, alright? Like, it felt like kind of like a slice of life, kind of too silly for me.
Oh,
So-
but that's what I liked about it.
Yeah,
It's like too different from the Dragon Ball that I used to watch all the time, though. It's like to be like a old like soap opera drama thing.
Yeah,
And
but
it's
I
like
think
not
this-
like that. From this episode, it's not like that. So I was like, oh,
Uh-huh.
which is not, it wasn't bad. I liked it. I'm happy it's back, and
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well, I kind of feel like at this particular point, after there's been 300 some odd episodes where they've had all the action, but we've grown up with these characters. I'm actually not opposed to just at least a few episodes just kind of watching a slice of their life, because these are characters that we've all grown up with, and we're revisiting them for the first time, or at least I am for the first time in many years. So really, I don't mind at all that it's a slice of life, at least for now, because obviously if this is 20 episodes later and they're still, going to a concert, or they're, or like if there's like a 3-parter about Gohan and Vidal's wedding that takes 3 episodes, and there's like it's a friends type of drama or something, sitcom drama or something, like
they lost the cake.
Yeah, like let's not do that.
Like,
but
Kira, what are you doing? You're drunk.
Gohan ate the ring on accident.
And plus, there was still some action. I mean, they fought a giant snake. I mean, what else?
Yeah,
could you want?
But it felt kind of the fight seemed kind of silly too. Honestly,
It's more Dragon Ball than Dragon Ball Z. Dragon Ball Z was the action-oriented show. This is more kitschy, fun Dragon Ball stuff. Well, I guess to kind of divide this up, so the episode pretty much it reestablishes, that this is still the Dragon Ball Z universe. We're reintroduced to characters. We're seeing Beerus, who was the villain of, or a quote-unquote villain of Dragon Ball Z Battle of Gods, which was the 14th movie. Right. So they're actually including movie villains into the plot into the show.
Well, because this is the one, or Battle of Gods was the one canon movie.
Yeah,
and the rest are not canon. So.
And we're still going to see if Resurrection of F is supposed to be canon or not, or if it's going to be like the movie tradition of its separate
I'm pretty sure
universe.
it is. I mean, of course, we haven't seen it.
Yeah,
I'm pretty sure it's canon.
Sorry. Like, I'm still confused when this takes place. Like, is it after Frieza? Or after Revival of F? Or before?
Well, I guess you couldn't really know if it's after Battle F until you've seen Battle F.
Oh, yeah, that's why. I mean, do I need... It sucks that to watch the movie to know, then go back.
Yeah. Well, I think it was vague enough.
I should be like, watch the TV series and just watch that,
Well, the one thing we know... Oh, sorry. The one thing we know for sure is that it's 6 months after... Boo, but
yeah, I don't mind watching the movies. It's just like I should I shouldn't have to go off and watch other things to get what's going on here.
Yeah, kind of like Marvel, kind of multimedia kind of universe. Well, I was gonna say, we can kind of divide this up into I guess what we liked, what we didn't like. I took a bunch of random notes which are kind of in the middle, but I guess we'll start with what we did like about the show. And I guess since I'm talking, I'll go ahead and go first. What I did like about the show is, which is opposed to what you said, Shane, is I like the kitschiness, slice of life of it. I enjoyed seeing Goku having a job. In the episode, it starts out with him as doing like a farming job, plowing stuff, and then he's like, "Oh, Goten, you go do this for me while I go train." And you recklessly drive your tractor off the side of a cliff.
Goku is like the worst dad ever.
Well, that's what I was going to ask. I was like, is Goku a good father, or is he still a bad father? Because he looks like he's trying.
Well, I think it's one of those things, I guess maybe I'm just giving Goku the benefit of the doubt, but I didn't really think of Goku as a bad father until they started, until Dragon Ball Z Abridged started making fun of him for being a bad father all the time. And, I suppose... what happened in the episode with Goten falling off the cliff with the tractor. Yeah, I mean, irresponsible parenting. Yeah. But I don't think like Dragon Ball Z Abridged Goku is definitely a bad father because they write him that way.
Yeah.
In this, he's just Goku. Yeah. Goku isn't. He's not made for fatherhood. He is not like that's not his default setting. His default setting is training to be the best there ever was and such. But I'm willing to be forgiving toward him.
Yeah. Well,
I got one thing to say about Goku. It's alright to train every now and again, but if you're gone for years at a time,
you're a terrible father.
sometimes you can't help being dead.
You can't help being
sometimes
dead.
he's not dead though. It's,
and all that good stuff. Well, I guess my...
I mean, if you remember, he was on Yadrat, or whatever the planet was, after
Oh,
Frieza.
Yeah, you're right.
And they would try to wish him back to life. They were like, but Shinron was like, oh, he's still alive. They were like, okay, bring him
Send him
here
here.
then. But
Well-
Shinron was like, no, he doesn't want to be here. They were
Yeah.
like, okay.
Okay, that's some good evidence.
Then he's
I'm
gone for
willing
like
to
years
concede.
at a time, so
Well,
like 3 years or something.
I guess my impression of Goku is, and this is middle ground of, benefit of the doubt or a bridge where he's a terrible father, is, to me, I've always got the impression that he was like a teenage dad. He wasn't even a full adult, and he has a kid. Like,
Not
that's
even
what
teenage. He's more like just a child. I mean, he's a big child. That's
well, no, that's what I'm
he's
saying.
been.
It's kind of like when you think of, like, people who have children in an early age, like when they're still a teenager, they're not mature enough, they're not prepared. That's what I've always got from him. So he's not a bad father, it's just he's still like a kid himself, and he wants to run off and live his life because he had a kid way
For
too early.
years at a time, though.
Well, it's because it's anime, but yeah, it was probably one of those cases where it's like, him and Chi-Chi, since they're kind of like country bumpkins, they don't understand what birth control is, and it just happened.
Well, I mean, Goten had to be conceived sometime after, in the Cell Saga. Yeah.
Well, there was some downtime when they were training.
There was some downtime.
Excuse the noise. I'm opening a honey bun.
Sheesh.
Anyway,
Slob.
I am a slob. I'm eating as much as Goku's eating. So I guess to finish my thoughts though with like the good stuff. I like the slice of life. I enjoyed reintroducing the characters. Especially stuff with Mr. Satan or Hercule from the dub, and dealing with Boo and all the stuff about him being hungry. I liked the new stuff with Videl and Gohan, where she's buying him rare books and they have like this good relationship. And of course, Trunks and Goten are running off and being adorable little kids, getting into misadventures.
This is off topic, but why did Akira Toriyama wanted the name Satan?
I don't know.
Like,
Well, I mean, for one thing, since he's Japanese, he doesn't really have the hang-ups of like he doesn't have, the Christian right banging down the door of like, you can't have a popular character named. Well, he's not really popular per se, but you can't have a character named Satan in your kids show. And of course, he isn't named Satan in the dub. He's named Hercule. So he solved that problem.
He's a wrestler though. Most wrestlers have, those names. Kind of like The Rock or something like. Well, The Rock's not a good example, but like Randy Savage, like Savage. You have all these. He's a competitive fighter, and he's kind of a hack.
Yeah, well, I mean, I understand that I understand why he's Mr. Satan and not his first name, Mark, or whatever, In Japanese culture, Satan isn't a big deal, but in America, there's many people who actually believe Satan is a real thing, and like, oh no, you're saying his name, and, things like that.
There's actually an anime about, like, Satan, like, working at a McDonald's. Just throwing it out there.
Was it the devil was a part-timer?
Yeah,
or
that's it.
something like
It was
that?
a pretty good show.
Yeah.
It's weird because Satan's a good guy in it too. I'm just like, what?
Yeah,
He's the underdog.
It's just simply the simple fact is that you can get away with this stuff in Japan that you couldn't get it in America.
Going back to I enjoyed the character stuff, enjoyed the comedy. It was very Dragon Ball-esque. And that's what I liked about Dragon Ball Z Battle of Gods. The movie is it actually developed the characters with comedy and wasn't just a bunch of filler with people staring up and gaping with their mouths open going, oh god, someone is dying up there, let's sit here and inner monologue about it. Like, it was actually like character development, and it's what I think, to go on a little side, a lot of people who are not fans of the series, when they think of Dragon Ball Z, they think of the stereotype of 12 episodes for one fight, 3 of those are powering up, the other are just punching, and then all that. There's a lot more to the series.
They stop and talk a little bit, then fight again.
Yeah. There's a lot more to the series, and that's why I'm still fascinated with it. It has humor, it has a lot of world building, and it is a fun little adventure show. But I think not a lot of people give it credit, while something like Bleach or other animes, which, I mean, I'm sure they're fine, they have their fandoms. Oh, well, But I feel like Dragon Ball Z has that appeal where it's like, just because it's Akira Toriyama, it's his off-brand, like, just really out there comedy, plus the action and weird characters. Like, just his worldview is just perfect to me, you know, and I like it when it gets back to, like, more traditional, like, his stuff. At least, you know, I'm an older guy now than when I was a kid watching it at first. So I'm not as interested in the action as I am with the comedy bits now.
Yeah, I think the important thing to remember is about Dragon Ball as a whole is that, like, the whole series isn't just Dragon Ball Z. There was a many episode, many manga volume series where it was just Dragon Ball, and Goku was younger and did a lot of running around and just having more crazy adventures with much smaller villains, which is what this episode had. You know, it had.
Payoff was awesome.
Yeah. Oh yeah, he's great. But I mean, like, this episode had a giant snake. I can't remember exactly, but I'm sure. I mean, Goku fought against giant snakes. I know at the beginning of Dragon Ball Z, Gohan fights against dinosaurs and things like that. So, you know, kind of going back to that, I mean, this is this isn't really a departure from what the show's about. It's just a departure from what we might expect, or at least coming out of like if you're watching the last episode of Dragon Ball Z and you're watching this and you immediately start watching this, you might be like, oh yeah, we just had this epic fight with Kid Buu, but now we're transitioning to this. Well, this is definitely different for sure. But really, for real fans who've seen the whole show, or at least big chunks of Dragon Ball and DBZ, they'll understand that this is just another side, and it's not, you know. And again, for me, since it's like the thing I appreciate the most is just that it's Toriyama, that it's not some random writer trying to appropriating all his characters and just making some random story like they did with GT. I just like that at least it's Toriyama, and as far as I'm concerned, he can do almost whatever he wants. I mean, I'm sure there's some limit, but I can't think of what it is.
All hail Toriyama.
Worship you and your panda car and all your scantily clad women.
I mean, it's not quite that far, but my point is that I'm just appreciating the fact that the creator is able to is taking helm of his series and doing stuff, just in the same way that, like, you know, the new Mad Max movie had the same director who directed the first one. Like, I thought that was kind of cool. Yeah. And now it's, you know, it's the same thing with this.
Yeah. I guess that brings up the next point, which is, I mean, was there anything else that you liked about the episode other than having more emphasis on humor, you know, reintroducing the characters? Was there anything else you wanted to add, or is it pretty much the same points that, like, AJ, you enjoyed about the episode? Like, what would you say would be the good parts of the episode?
Yeah, so, I mean, like, I thought the interplay between, like, Goten and Trunks was always fun, developing those characters more, just seeing kind of what they do. And, of course, Goku's antics, Mr. Satan's antics with Buu, there's just, you know, it's really just taking these characters who you know and love and just having them interact. And, like, I mean, at this stage, for episode 1, I'm satisfied with that.
Okay. So, Shane, any other good points that you could add to that?
I mean, honestly, I'm just waiting for, like, when it gets epic, because it was alright, but it's just not.
So you seem like you're the most disappointed of the three of us.
I mean, I'm not saying disappointed. It's just not what I wanted.
It didn't blow you away.
Yeah, it was just a slice of life, and I wanted like a soap opera epic, just like Dragon Ball Z was.
Well,
that's what I said before we started. The episode was like, it was.
Okay, so you were expecting something epic.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, I know, like, I don't know. They could have, like, started off with a new villain or something.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Well,
and they started slowly building up after episode and episode. I didn't really want to.
Well, I mean, at the very least, they had.
Which is alright for. I mean, it's.
Yeah.
I mean, at the very least, they had 2 scenes with Beerus and then another with Supreme Kai. So, you know, they're adding stuff. It'll be a slow build probably.
Well, what I was going to say with speaking of soap opera, there's actually 2 points. You know, going back to what you were saying about, you know, Toriyama's input, I would say that at least from my point of view, I do enjoy this better than the premiere episode of GT. because it does flow. They rush too much stuff. They did like 3 episodes worth of material in one episode, if you remember back to the first episode of GT. So that's good. I mean, this feels like real and not like a fanfic that it gave a little bit of the budget of Dragon Ball Z 2 to make GT. But going off onto what we were saying about soap opera, this is kind of a mutual point. This isn't good or bad, but I'd say that my favorite takeaway scene from the episode has to be where, towards the end of the episode, right before it starts to goes to the second episode, which we'll eventually see, is when it has Hercule is giving the award money, the world peace money, the a million, like what,
100 million
100 million zenny, which is zenny a real?
I'm assuming it's a lot of money.
It's a lot of money. It's a lot of Dragon Ball.
It is a world peace prize.
It's just the Dragon Ball world.
It's like Monopoly money that you can buy dinosaur carriers for. But just the fact that like the whole scene of him giving Goku the money, like the music is so melodramatic, and it takes so long for
that's true.
It takes so long for him to give him the money, and it's like, oh my god, this is a soap opera, and it's just going and going and going. So I mean, that's my favorite scene of the episode, and I guess of the show so far, because we've only seen the one episode. But just how long they drag out the.
I guess my favorite scene is where Roshi breaks in and is like, let's buy some dirty
Yeah, I was
magazines.
gonna say, yeah, why?
Let's buy porn.
In the day and age of piracy, it's like, let's buy some interesting DVDs, which I can only imagine what interesting to Master Roshi is. But,
Titty cleavage.
Titty cleavage.
Anyway, yeah, I was just gonna say about the ending there. I think the only thing for me though is that considering I had not just finished watching the Boo arc, like it was kind of like less of an impact because I'm like, oh yeah, Goku did save the Earth at the end, but since it's been a while and
like 20 years. Well,
yeah.
for you, a lot shorter than that, obviously, but
Yeah, well, it's just like, oh yeah, now he's getting a reward for the thing
actually
he did
doing that.
Yeah, the thing he did in the last the last series. So, but not that it was a bad thing, but.
Well, I guess we've kind of covered all of the the good points. So I guess going on to the bad, I really don't have much to complain about.
I do.
Of course you do. I think it's just the polar
not
opposites.
really,
But I'd say probably the only thing I disliked, because I mean there was nothing in this episode that was really like offensive bad. It was just a very standard episode with good humor, some antics, and of course that out of nowhere soap opera moment of giving the money. But I say the only thing I didn't like, and I'm going to see about you guys, is the only thing I disliked about the show is just the music is not... I mean, I know it's not Hey Chala, the theme music, and it's not as epic, but I just didn't like any of the music in the episode. And that's the only bad thing I can complain about, really, is just I didn't like the music at all in the show.
The soundtrack was... Yeah.
Like, yeah, the new theme song, I don't think it's catchy enough. Maybe it's because I've only heard it once. But I didn't really like...
Give it a couple of listens. Although, for me, the theme song, I didn't really like the guy's voice. I kind of thought his voice was off. Like, it was too low.
Well, it wasn't the boy bands of, like, GT, where it's just like, every episode was, like, had some kind of, like, well, not every episode, but all the intros was just, like, boy pop band music. I mean, at least this was kind of, like, more traditional, like, theme song music, but it just was I don't know.
I mean, it wasn't. I don't think it was bad, but I think it's one of those things where like the more episodes you watch, and you kind of get the theme in your head at some point, and eventually you start liking it, unless it's just bad. But I mean, I'll have to listen to this one more.
Yeah,
before I judge it.
I'm just glad. Well, I mean,
or at least before I judge it poorly.
You chose unwisely, but I'd say probably like I guess I'm just glad it wasn't like dubstep music or a country song. Or rap, like the
They're
GT.
Gonna play a country song. The Japanese.
They might be like konnichiwa, ta-da. But my Japanese is terrible. I can say a couple things, but nani.
Means what?
It means what? Ichi means one. So that's really about it. So I guess bad. I mean, so AJ, any other bad?
Well,
other than the music.
So it's not necessarily that it's bad. It's just that for me, I should have clarified this in the pre-show, but I have primarily watched the dub, and not that I'm not familiar with the sub. Like, I mean, I've heard some of it in Japanese and watched the sub before, but not really consistently. So for me, I was kind of like not used to some of the voices. So like I wasn't really aware that Majin Buu sounded that dark. You know, just as an example. Yeah. And
I'm hungry. Give me food.
Yeah. And
Well, it could be Japanese Fat Albert, who just happens to be a genie.
Oh yeah. Well, of course. I mean, I knew Masako Nozawa as Goku and Goten and Gohan. I mean, I kind of knew what they sounded like. So I mean, obviously, I wasn't, I wasn't offended or anything. But it was just like, oh yeah, I'm still not used to the sub voices yet. But to the original Japanese. But I am glad to. I mean, I will definitely have to watch this when it's the dub, just because of that's what I grew up with, and that's kind of what, at least when I think of the characters in my head, that's the voices that I think of.
Uh-huh.
But and that's not really a bad point. It's just kind of like, oh yeah, that's something. I guess what else would be bad? I mean, I think it just really depends on what your expectations were and what you like. If you think the kind of if you don't like the Dragon Ball camp that it can go into, where the joke is they were flying and some regular people saw that they were flying.
That's an old joke they do.
Huh?
That's an old joke they do in the original Dragon Ball Z.
Yeah, I know they've done that. They've done that joke multiple times, and then also just like, oh, his hair fell off, or oh, let's get now. Of course, the Master Oshi. Let's buy some interesting DVDs. I thought that was hilarious.
Imagine what kind of sick stuff he watches.
Okay, one, like I want to point out that Master Roshi thing. One, how did he find out about the money? I mean, Hercule said, "Do not tell anybody about this." And B, how did he get from his island all the way to his house?
If he really wanted to
and
buy
does he not have a phone? I mean, did he have to run? Did he have to run all the way to his house? Be like, oh, let's buy some porn DVDs with millions of dollars.
He didn't say porn, but he did say interesting.
That's what he meant, is porn DVDs. Let's buy porn DVDs
I'm sure
with the
he
millions
meant
of dollars.
And Suspiria and all the Italian horror you love.
I love my Italian horrors. But so yeah, so I guess would that be? I mean, does that sum up all the bad to you? I mean, it doesn't sound like any of us legitimately hated this or disliked it.
Well, actually, to be honest,
I did love it. I was just kind of,
yeah,
Okay.
I mean, there really wasn't. I mean, I didn't set my expectations too high, so nothing was really disappointed. I don't think there was anything like outright bad. I mean, I thought there were going back to good briefly. There were some, I mean, I like the heartwarming moment where they gave Adele water and she's like, "Oh, it's just water."
But it's cosmetic water.
Yeah. but she appreciated it anyway. And I thought that was a sweet moment. And also a sweet moment with like Gohan and Videl. Oh, this is a book and that you want and blah blah blah. So I mean, it's just
it's a book that you wanted.
Hey, I can relate. When I get books I want. Anyway, but
yes.
But still, so I mean, I think it's like for me, it's just like I just like the characters interacting, as I've said, and I can appreciate that at least for now.
Yeah. And I guess real quick, Shane, I guess your points on the bad.
I've already pointed them all out, so
nothing else to add.
I can't think of anything.
Okay, well, I guess most of our predictions were okay. There really wasn't any new villains unless you've not seen Battle of Gods yet. Which is a good movie. Watch it. Watch it. Buy the Blu-ray now. It's got 2 different cuts, and Sean Shivel's, he's really good as Goku. And don't diss the dub yet, unless you just hate English people. Stop it. Anyway, so. I'm looking forward to another episode. I guess is a looking forward to the next episode, Dragon Ball Super. Apparently, Vegeta goes on a family vacation, and he had like an octopus on his face.
Yeah, I also saw him sitting in a very tiny train.
It's like, did they go to Disneyland or? Ooh, wouldn't it be cool if they did like an Ultraman crossover or like other Toei stuff?
Yeah,
Like,
I suppose.
Well, I mean, think of it. Japan has all these like theme parks, so it'd be cool if we saw like in the original Dragon Ball there was the Gamera like cameo. So imagine there was some other Japanese knickknacks stuff. But I'm looking forward.
I don't think that's gonna happen though. I mean, that is cool to think about, but I'm just saying.
Oh, they drop a lot of references that a lot of people don't catch until years later. Waves and Rocks, Toei Productions. They really should have their own English theme song about Waves and Rocks. So I'm looking forward to the next episode. I guess is this a show that we're going to actively look forward to watching all of?
Yeah, I mean,
I'll probably watch the second episode when I get home. To be honest.
Yeah, it is premiered in Japan. I'd go ahead and point out that we did watch a fan sub copy that was online, and I'm sure someone's fan subbed episode 2, and I think episode 3's getting ready to premiere.
It comes out. It's every Sunday at 9 a.m.
Oh, so tomorrow.
Japanese time, of course.
So if anyone's listening to this episode in Japan, please tell us about those other advertisements, which this is my first time actually watching a
Do you really
Japanese
think
TV
a
show
Japanese person's going to listen to an English podcast,
It could happen.
then translate it?
Translate. Oh yes, but no. I'm just. This is a random side note before we get ready to go. But it was just really interesting to me to see all the like weird advertisements that are cut out in the English versions, like the stuff for Bandai. And
Follow us on Twitter.
And yeah, I was about to say the bottom text, since it was in Japanese, I'm just assuming they're like, oh, follow us on Twitter. Follow us now. Follow us on Instagram or Japanese Facebook, which is Facebook in Japan. Follow us to Walmart. Except I won't be at Walmart. I go to Target. So don't even think about it. So, I mean, that was cool seeing it, seeing all the little weird advertisements. So, I guess to kind of wrap up, so I mean, any final thoughts on Dragon Ball Super?
Yeah, well, overall, I was satisfied with it. I'm definitely looking forward to more. I'm giving this a couple episodes to be slice of life. I do expect it to change eventually.
Yeah.
If it doesn't, I'll be so mad. I'll be like breaking everything I see.
Oh, come on, don't be that bad. But
Yeah.
But yeah, so that overall, I'm satisfied with it, and I'm definitely looking forward to seeing more. So
Okay.
What you guys score the first episode? 1 out of 10. 10 being the best you can give it.
I'd probably say something like a 6, because I really did enjoy the humor.
Maybe like a 7, I guess. Well, maybe
Okay.
maybe 6 or 7.
I'd say a very solid 5.
I'm glad you were like 2. It was at least pretty to look at.
I don't know. 2 is like
The animation was very good.
I'd like to say that the animation is leaps and bounds. I wouldn't say better than Dragon Ball Z, because I do miss the hand-drawn look, but it's way better than the awkward, like reimagining of characters they did with GT. GT, like people looked weird. Why did they give Vegeta a mustache? That's a whole nother topic for a whole nother day.
I gave him a porn stash.
He is Ron Jeremy.
It's just a crisp and clean look, and I guess it doesn't necessarily have that kind of like, late 80s, early 90s animation kind of feel to it, obviously. But and they didn't like purposely try to make it look like that. But obviously it's Toriyama's classic designs of the characters. It's not a reimagining with some kind of crazy redesign. I mean, luckily Japan doesn't do those things like we do.
Yeah.
But
the edgy reboot.
Yeah,
we all saw how that went. Dragon Ball Evolution.
yeah.
Well, I guess that covers our discussion of Dragon Ball Super. We're looking forward to more. I think this episode hasn't been.
I can't wait for the explosions to start.
The explosions and rocks.
He punched a snake. What more do you want?
I mean, I don't like Trunks, the kid Trunks, that much.
Oh, poor Trunks. Well, future Trunks is probably not going to show up. He'll probably just say like,
I know.
I'm
waiting
Trunks will grow up and
I'm waiting
be
for
future
kid.
Trunks.
Yeah, I'm waiting for kid Trunks to grow up whenever that'll be.
Or guys, he could show up and be like, oh god, in an alternate reality, there's this thing called GT, and oh god, it gets bad. I become an angry babysitter, and Goten's like this player on his big, huge cell phone.
Yeah, and Trunks like cross dresses in that one episode
yeah,
too.
he's got some gender
I'm like,
problems.
he was like really epic when I first saw him. Now he's cross dressing. So I'm just like, what the
Come on, don't judge.
Don't be judging. So I guess that's our that covers Dragon Ball Super. For the next episode of Apologize
Predator!
of the podcast. Yes, Predator. Stranger Danger. We're going to cover the 1987 action classic Predator, one of the franchises that, has, I guess, been the highlight of, Fox's, cinematic output. So we're going to watch Arnie. We're going to watch Arnold Schwarzenegger. He's going to fight the Predator. And so this will be a lot of fun. So this will be interesting. I've seen the movie hundreds of times.
I've never seen the movie.
So okay.
It'll be my first time as well. But I mean, I've seen many Arnold movies. I haven't gotten around to that one. Sorry.
So this will be fun. It'll be fun to watch Arnold, kicking ass and getting his ass kicked by an alien with dreadlocks. Okay, so we're gonna do our next episode of Predator. So closing out, we can give each other's contact info for anyone who wants to check out our stuff, and we'll have links in the description below on YouTube. But Shane, and Twitch. So Shane, where can they find your stuff?
Okay, I'm under the name Sonazki on YouTube. It's spelled Sonazki, and on Twitch.tv it is Sonazki_otaku, spelled Sonazki Sonazki _otaku OTAKU. And any follows I get are very much appreciated.
Okay, good.
Go!
And AJ, where can they find your stuff?
Yeah, so my YouTube channel is Don't Ignore Me, where I've done random sketches and mostly old videos. Haven't made anything new in a while. So mostly just listen to me on this podcast, if you would.
Yay! And of course, I am Tyler. You can find me at Jalaman22, the YouTube channel, and I'll be starting up a little blog for our podcast here. And you can see shenanigans I've done, a couple little movie reviews where I talk awkwardly and boringly into the microphone. But anyway, we're signing off and apologize to the podcast.
Apologize to the podcast.
Apologize to the podcast, motherfuckers. Please keep that in. I'll laugh.
Hello, and welcome to a commercial for Hello, This is the Doom Show. I'm Richard.
I'm Brad.
And on the podcast that is known as Hello, This is the Doom Show, we talk about giallo movies, slasher movies, horror movies.
We're going to interview Cary Grant live in the studio.
We're going to interview Lucio Fulci in the studio, folks. We're going to put Cary Grant in the studio with Lucio Fulci. It's the interview you never thought would happen.
I'm going to wear my Vincent Price flags.
I'm going to wear my Citizen Kane wristwatch and monocle. And now Brad is going to recite the Pledge of Allegiance in Portuguese. Brad, go.
I don't know Portuguese.
Go! Go!
Stop hitting me!
You're a natural actor.
Yeah.
You can listen to us at HelloDoomedShow.podomatic.com, or you can find the archive at DoomedMovieThon.com.